President Trump made some big decisions about health care this week, including cutting off subsidies that benefit lower and middle-class families. Drew aggregate images back in March, after the first Republican legislative failure to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. During the Trump presidency, President Trump went before cameras in the Oval Office and revealed some of his thinking when it comes to the politics of health care. "I've been saying for the last year and a half that the best thing we can do politically speaking is let Obamacare explode," Trump said. "It is exploding right now. Experts said that the ACA wasn't exploding, but that it needed fixes to help incentivize insurers to stay in marketplaces. But now, 6 months later, Obamacare may actually be on the road to exploding, catalyzed by an accelerant poured over it by Trump. The moves he has taken risk blowing up the individual markets by making insurance too expensive for lower and middle-class families." Trump's actions, however, could backfire politically, threatening to shift blame for the Health Care Act's shortcomings from former President Barack Obama and Democrats at Trump and Republicans. That is something Republicans have feared and now believe will happen. If people lose the cost-sharing reduction payments, the subsidies, it's going to be pretty hard to blame a former President, Barack Obama, for that, moderate Republican Rep. Charlie Dent of Pennsylvania told NPR's All Things Considered on Friday. Dent, who is retiring after this term, continued, "We Republicans control the House and the Senate and the White House. If there are problems, we will likely own them. It's pretty hard to say that the former president is somehow going to be able to accept all the blame. He's out of the game right now. At issue is Trump's decision to end subsidies that help offset the cost of insurance for anyone making up to 4 times the federal poverty level. That's a yearly household income of $97,000 for a family of 4. Trump's action could mean premium increases of 20% by 2018 for people buying insurance through exchanges, the Congressional Budget Office estimates, and more than that in subsequent years. And the CBO estimates it will wind up costing, not saving, the government almost $200 billion over the next 10 years. Bloomberg explains how Trump's decision comes after 3 failed high-profile GOP repeal and replace efforts in Congress. The White House argues the subsidies are illegal because they are not appropriated by Congress. House Republicans sued the Obama administration hoping to stop the payments. A court sided with the House GOP but agreed to leave the subsidies in place until a government appeal could be heard. The Trump administration, however, decided to drop the appeal, thereby ending the payments. In practical terms, though, this will hurt real people, many of whom are in Trump-won states. Will they accept the legal argument that the process was flawed and Congress has to fix it, even if the man they voted for had the power to keep more money in the pockets? Trump's move came the same day he took yet another step to undermine Obamacare by signing an executive order allowing groups of small businesses and associations to band together to buy health insurance. That could draw younger, healthier people away from the exchanges. It might give younger people a discount for cut rate coverage, but it would likely drive up the price of premiums for Americans who need care. That is not all the Trump administration has done that could pull the rug out from under the ACA. It has also shortened the sign-up period for health care, closed the federal exchange on Sundays, and cut the budget for marketing efforts, including ending advertising to urge sign-ups. Cutting subsidies is a move long feared by health care advocates. Trump has teased doing it for months. Back in April, he told the Wall Street Journal he was thinking about it, and perhaps revealed why. "What I think should happen, and will happen, is the Democrats will start calling me and negotiating," Trump told the paper. The Journal noted that he continually came back to subsidies and called out Democratic leaders Sen. Chuck Schumer and Rep. Nancy Pelosi. "Schumer should be calling me up and begging me to help him save Obamacare," Trump said. "He should be calling me and begging me to help him save Obamacare," along with Nancy Pelosi. Recently, Schumer of New York and Pelosi of California appeared ready to work with Trump. The president sided with them over leaders of his own party about a 3-month extension on the debt ceiling, which is set to need to be raised again in early to mid-December. Republicans worried that he was falling into the arms of Chuck and Nancy, but Trump appears to be trying to carve out a third path for himself, dismissing Republicans and browbeating Democrats, hoping they will come to him on bended knee. But Democrats have some leverage. Without the votes, it will be difficult for Republicans to keep the government open or raise the debt ceiling on their own. That would risk a government shutdown and a default of U.S. debts. And Chuck and Nancy don't appear ready to kneel. Sadly, instead of working to lower health costs for Americans, it seems President Trump will single-handedly hike Americans' health premiums, Schumer and Pelosi said in a joint statement. It is a spiteful act of vast pointless sabotage leveled at working families and the middle class in every corner of America. Make no mistake about it, Trump will try to blame the Affordable Care Act, but this will fall on his back and he will pay the price for it. Schumer later told reporters, Sonoma, Calif. Reuters fierce winds were expected to stir wildfires and test firefighters on Saturday in Northern California, where the most lethal outbreak of wildfires in state history has killed 35 people and forced more than 90,000 residents from their homes. The wind-driven blazes, which erupted on Sunday night in the heart of California's renowned wine country, north of San Francisco, have destroyed an estimated 5,700 homes. A total of 17 major wildfires encompassing several smaller blazes merged together had consumed nearly 222,000 acres of dry brush, grasslands and trees across 8 counties. Ground crews on Friday gained ground on the wildfires on Friday as they raced to clear drought-parched vegetation along the southern flanks of fires, removing highly combustible fuels adjacent to populated areas before extreme heat and winds were forecast to revive over the weekend. Winds were to intensify overnight and into Saturday with gusts of up to 55 miles per hour, 90 kilometers per hour, along with 10% humidity, the service warned. If new fires start, they could spread extremely rapidly, said Brooke Bingaman, a National Weather Service meteorologist in Sacramento, California, in a video posted on Facebook. Those fuels are super dry right now. This also could cause problems for the current wildfires and the firefighters who are trying to suppress them. Wildfire ripped through the Sonoma County town of Santa Rosa, where whole neighborhoods were reduced to landscapes of gray ash, smoldering debris and burned-out vehicles. The 35 confirmed fatalities, 19 in Sonoma County, mark the greatest loss of life from a single fire event on record in California, surpassing the 29 deaths from the Griffith Park fire of 1933 in Los Angeles. Some victims were asleep when flames engulfed their homes, and many survivors had only minutes to flee. With 235 people still missing on Friday in Sonoma County alone, and rubble from thousands of incinerated dwellings yet to be searched, authorities have said the number of fatalities from the so-called North Bay fires would likely climb. The fires have thrown California's wine-producing industry, and related tourism, into disarray at the end of the region's annual grape harvest, damaging and destroying at least a dozen Napa Valley wineries. Some 45 search and rescue teams and 18 detectives were deployed to scour obliterated neighborhoods for victims. More than 90,000 residents have been evacuated, said Jamie Williams, a spokeswoman for the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Governor Jerry Brown planned to visit the area with California's 2 U.S. senators on Saturday. We'll keep working day and night with our local and federal partners to fight these fires and help residents get back on their feet in these trying times, he said in a statement. Officials have said power lines toppled by gale force winds the first night may have sparked the conflagration, though the official cause remained under investigation. The picturesque town of Calistoga, at the northern end of Napa Valley, faced one of the biggest remaining hazards. Its 5,000-plus residents were ordered from the homes on Wednesday night as a fierce blaze dubbed the Tubbs Fire crept to within 2 miles (3.2 kilometers) of city limits. On Friday, fires raged along mountain ridges overlooking Calistoga, threatening to rain embers onto the resort and spa destination if strong winds blow out of the north as predicted, Cal Fire spokesman Dennis Rain said. It's surreal. It's eerie, Mayor Chris Canning told a local ABC affiliate as he surveyed the empty town on Friday. It's calm now and it's giving Cal Fire an opportunity. 58 white crosses for the victims of the shooting on the Las Vegas Strip earlier this month are arrayed October 6 just south of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. The shooter fired down on a crowd of concert-goers from a room in the hotel, and on Thursday its parent company disputed the police timeline of the attack. Robin Backup. Getty Images. The parent company of the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas, MGM Resorts, is providing new information that contradicts the latest police timeline of the mass shooting that took place October 1. In a statement, the company says information from police indicating that a hotel security guard was shot 6 minutes before the shooting began is not accurate. At issue is whether the hotel was delayed in calling police after the shots were first reported by hotel security staff. Las Vegas Sheriff Joseph Lombardo said Monday that the Mandalay Bay security guard, Jesus Campos, was shot at 9:59 p.m. The shooter began firing from his room on the hotel's 32nd floor into the crowd below at the Route 91 Harvest Festival at 10:05 p.m. The statement from the hotel company says that time was based on a report manually created after the fact without the benefit of information we now have. MGM says that the shooter actually began firing into the festival within 40 seconds of when Campos first reported over radio that shots had been fired. Here's the full statement from MGM Resorts. Although we prefer not to comment on the details of the investigation, we are issuing this statement to correct some of the misinformation that has been reported. The 9:59 p.m. PDT time was derived from a Mandalay Bay report manually created after the fact without the benefit of information we now have. We are now confident that the time stated in this report is not accurate. We know that shots were being fired at the festival lot at the same time as, or within 40 seconds after, the time Jesus Campos first reported that shots were fired over the radio. Metro officers were together with armed Mandalay Bay security officers in the building when Campos first reported that shots were fired over the radio. These Metro officers and armed Mandalay Bay security officers immediately responded to the 32nd floor. We will continue to work with law enforcement as we have from the first moments of this tragedy as they work toward developing an accurate timeline. The statement comes as attorneys say they're talking with victims about possible lawsuits against the hotel company and other parties they say may be responsible. At least one victim has already filed a lawsuit in state court in Nevada seeking to freeze the assets of the shooter, Stephen Paddock, and preserve them for the benefit of the victims and the families. The most recent timeline released on Monday by investigators is a change from their initial timeline, which indicated that Campos had been shot after Paddock began shooting into the festival crowd. Campos was injured but released from the hospital last week. He's being hailed as a hero who helped shorten the length of time the shooter was